Hi everybody, Uncle Max here from the Life to the Max show. All things about provident living, self-reliance, a law of attraction, abundance. It's being prepared for tough times as a way of life, so you're better prepared for the snowstorms, the attacks on the power grid, the tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, whatever, terrorist attack. Heaven forbid nuclear, which Russia's threatening to use against us. It's just living providently so that things go bad, that you're ready to, and you can just move right on with life without it being such a major disaster for you. And that's one of the reasons why I love off-roading and learning how to drive and how to set up a rig so it's simple and robust. And I was at the Off-Road Expo about 11 months ago. I was going over to the Premier Power Welder booth to check out their welder setup. And some guy walks up next to me and says, hey, I need some more of those decals. And I look over, it's like, whoa, Trail Mater, that's Rory. And I said, dude, can I interview you? And he said, yeah. He was very accommodating. And so following is what I jokingly say is the first complete, really good walk around of his vehicle. I just didn't upload it till now. And my son Jake, who's our ATIV computer expert in the family, he already previously edited this. I just didn't get it uploaded. I've been distracted, been busy preparing an old house to move, fixing that up, in the process of doing the whole move, and I just barely finished a couple weeks ago. So hopefully I can re-engage and start getting out some great content. Let's start with this. Rory just announced on one of his videos I was just watching, it was released just hours ago, or just a couple days ago, and he says, hey, this friend of mine did the first complete walk around. It's like, well, dang, I did one 11 months ago, and I forgot. And so anyhow, it's the first real in-depth walk around, just late in uploading it. And hopefully what it did for me, there were a couple points that this other guy asked that I didn't. It's kind of like if you watch a bunch of interviews from one of your favorite actors, and you'll get insights from different people asking different questions, and it's good. Overall, you get the best, the best of both worlds. So I'm going to add this, or we're going to get it uploaded soon, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And again, thank you, Rory, for fantastic interview and for letting me go through everything and talk shop with you. And hopefully I'll get what I call Vanbo, generic van part 2 up and running. I'll put a link into the description of my early rig that I built or helped build years ago when I was 19. That's a long time ago. That was 40 something years ago when I built that, or helped build it. But anyhow, I'll put a link up here to an early trip that we talked about on you'll hear us talking about that later in this video. And he wants to see the next version. He wants to see the Vanbo generic band part 2. So I'll put a link here to the generic band, and I'll shut up and let's commence with the interview.
Hey folks, check it out. The man himself,
Rory Irish.
And you're from Guatemala? No. If you're not familiar with Man's Off-Road Recovery and Trail Mater, Casey Liddell doing some great stuff up northeast. He came down and now they're doing some stuff. Robbie Layton Nation.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, this man has the coolest off-road rig. And if you take one of your off-road rigs and it breaks down, how do you think you're going to get it out of the worst case scenario? And that's this man right here.
We will come get you anyway.
Yeah. Some of your stuff down in Canyonlands, phenomenal. What has been your toughest recovery?
I get asked this all the time, and it's a tough call.
Yeah.
There was a side-by-side one that was probably the scariest I've ever done. That's the scariest I've ever been in my truck.
Is it Canyonlands or what?
No, it was out by Dewey Bridge, down by the Dolores River.
Okay, not familiar with those.
No, I haven't done a video there. Actually, Verizon updated the cloud, and I lost my footage.
Oh no!
So, yeah.
What got you into this?
Recoveries?
Yeah.
Honestly, my buddies have always called me. They've always called me like, hey, can you get us out?
Ian from Extreme Off Road. Ian Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah. He says there's always one of those guys that seems to have everything you need, and he's always the guy you go to, and he seems to really solve it. So you're that guy.
I was always that guy, and then I used to work in the oil field, and this was just a hobby of mine, four-wheeling. Yeah. And then I finally decided to move back home to Moab, and I applied for a job at the off-road shop.
Yeah.
And I got it. And I moved back, and then they started doing off-road recoveries, or they did them, and so that was the thing. And then when I bought the shop, I started my own shop, I was like, well, you know, I've got this old truck. We'll also do off-road recoveries, but let's take it to another level for the harder stuff. And that the truck became. So
sweet. Yeah. It's classic. I mean, did cars kind of take it to the next level? Did you have this before cars came out?
Well, actually, yeah, cars came out way before, and then somebody, this guy Dan that I know, he said it in an Instagram tweet. He goes, "Yeah, that's TRAILMATER," and I was like, "That's perfect."
That is.
And I just kept it, and yeah, now I got the personalized license
plates. You
plates.
the license plate, the vanity plates. You got it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's awesome. It just worked. It was just a great thing. But I tell everybody because they're like, "Oh, Tow Mater," and I'm like, "No, TRAILMATER. Just different enough. Disney won't sue me."
That's true. That's true. And we did a trip in I call it the generic van. This is back. Do you remember? Are you young enough or old enough to remember every store had a row of generic products? They were all white packages, and it just says raisins.
Yep.
And it just said, you know, it was cornflakes. It wasn't Post or.
Yeah, there was just that.
Well, my dad's brother built a Ford van with a Chevy front axle, Dodge transfer case, American Motors tire radiator, whatever. And so I painted it white, and I put GENERIC, and then a big foot tall letters said van.
Generic van.
And I put little barcode in the corner with little numbers underneath, so it looked like a scanner. And we took that up over Elvin Hill 40 years ago, when it was 20. We got down to 20 below that February.
Yeah.
And we had the place to ourselves. We had to talk to Ranger to open it up. You have to check it out. It's Generic Van Canyonlands on YouTube. Check that out.
Absolutely.
And you'll see this. And so now I'm working on Vanbo Generic Van Part 2. 26 years in the Army. I'm going to camel this one. Now we're going to scratch it up like the TRAILMATER.
Right.
Just take out a can, spray it, and then drive on.
I don't even paint it.
That's right. I get mad at people spending $120,000, $50,000 on a Bronco, and then you have to go rescue them, and then they have to have tons of body work.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to worry about that on your TRAILMATER.
Not at all.
How scary was that flip that you did?
It wasn't scary because I wasn't in it. It was even worse. I had to stand there and watch it.
And it probably went in slow motion.
It broke my heart horribly. Yeah, no. It went, and then the sling that I had hooked up on the hitch dropped off, and so it stood there for like a second. And I was like,
and that was like an eternity, right?
Yeah, I was like, which way is it going to go? Which way is it going to go? Like, come this way, come this way.
And you're like, no.
And it kept going, and I just dropped the winch controller and walked off. I didn't even want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps telling me, if you'd have videoed that, it would have gone viral. If I had a video camera running, it never would see the light of day. Because I don't want to watch that time and time and time again.
That's true.
So
now this is something I want to share on my channel. Is that tough things can happen, but sometimes it helps you in the long run because you end up coming out even better at the back end. And you made your rig better, right?
I did because, like I said, when I put that truck together originally for my buddy to just be a rock crawler, we scabbed that exo cage together out of just random stuff I had in the yard. Like, we did not, because we never expected a serious roll like that.
Yeah.
Like, we expected you roll on your side, on your top, you know, because it was just a crawler. So that's usually slow rolls. So we weren't worried about it. We just threw it together. And when it went over like that, I was like, I knew, I welded that all together. I knew what it, and I'm like, it's not going to hold up. Like, that cab's going to be flat. How it held up as well as it did, I'll never know.
Yeah.
But the cab's fine. We pushed the roof back out. We put it back together. But then when I went back together with it, it was all new tube. It was all full welded. It was reinforced better. So yeah, it made me upgrade all the stuff that needed upgraded.
So what was hard at first turned out to be even better in the long run.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of things with life. And if we could just look at most of our challenges that way, come out better at the other end, that's a good story.
Life's a rock. Get over it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You got to get through that because, I mean, it sucked. But, I mean, I think I called my girlfriend crying. I was like, I just totaled the truck. Like, what am I going to do? But then, you know, you walk back over there. Okay, we need to do this. Let's flip it over. All right, it's not going to run because the fan shroud was mangled around the fan. Called my buddy. He said, come tell me. He came and got me. We drug it down to the shop. I had it torn apart. I had the whole front clip torn off and had it running within an hour and a half.
Yeah,
Because
that's what amazes me.
You got to focus on it and go.
Yeah.
You can talk about it all
day
day
long. I get hung
long.
up. I had analysis paralysis. You just knocked it out.
Yeah.
Made it happen.
Well, like I said, it's one of those things. It's like, yes, there's a problem. Focus on it and get through it, because otherwise you're just going to sit there and freak out.
So start channeling your inner Rory and just get her done, you know? And by the way, that's the guy that does the voice for Mater.
There you are. There you are.
Well, awesome. So we'll be able to see TrailMater for down here.
Yeah.
So how did you end up meeting Matt?
Of course, everybody that comes into my shop after his YouTube channel blew up had to be, oh, do you know Matt? Do you know Matt?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I know of him. I've never met him, but I know of him. And so then it was all the comparisons. You know, well, you must watch his channel to learn what you do. And it's like, well, no, we kind of do different things. We do the same thing, but different.
Yeah.
And so I went over to St. George for the Winter 4x4 Jamboree last year. And he messaged me, actually, and he was like, hey, are you in town? And I'm like, yeah. He's all, I want to meet you. So we met up and hit it off, and we've just been hanging out. Or, you know, he comes over to Moab and goes wheeling. I come over here and go wheeling. And
yeah. So it's what, 3-4 hours to get there?
5.5 if I'm pulling my trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
and you got the truck with the big, because you're hauling TrailMater around.
Yeah.
TrailMater was what lets you get way into the back, crazy stuff.
Well, and I'm usually going to get a disabled rig. So I take my gooseneck so that I can go in and get the rig, and then I pull all of it onto the trailer and haul it back to the shop.
And you have room for more than just your...
Yeah, I can fit 2 rigs on my gooseneck, which actually that's why I brought both rigs down here today.
Oh, so that's right. You got the new one.
And an old trusty here.
And you were saying that this one is not going to be as...
This one's not going to be as crazy. This one's more dirt roads. This one's more the easier stuff. Plus, I can go in and get a rig and carry it out because it'll have the traditional wrecker sling on it.
Yeah.
It won't have the straps and everything on this to give for that. Because towing down the highway with this is a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Just because they're not hard mounted. So this one's going to be more... It just takes this. I don't have to take the gooseneck and another rig and everything. I just go in, grab it, come out. So like Canyonlands, Arches, White Rim Trail, where it's not a real big trail or it's not a difficult trail, I can cruise in there, grab them, and come out.
So you do all those with this?
Yes. That'll be kind of this. This will still be the trail, the hard stuff. This will still be it. Everybody's like, oh, you're replacing it. No, you can't replace that trail.
No. No, it's like a rat rod with its own personality, its own spirit, its own energy, and just a lot of fun. Do you have a name for this one?
I don't.
You got to do a contest with your viewers.
Well,
have people suggest
name my trucks though. I mean, I literally have a green Dodge that's called the green truck, and I have a white Dodge that's called the white truck. This is called the tow truck. I have my buggy that's called Buggy.
But this is known as TrailMater.
I know.
So I would do that for your show and say, hey, what do you think I should name this?
Well, my mechanic was calling. It was kind of funny because we were joking about I don't know what he said, and it was this was Big Tugger and this was Little Tugger.
Oh, okay. Little Tugger. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, everybody's been throwing in their 2 cents of what the name should be on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
And when I hear something that sounds right, I'll know it. That's just like with that one.
Oh, okay. Because it just clicked.
Yeah, it was just like that works. That's awesome. I need to keep that. And so I think it's going to be the same with this. Once I hear something or think of something that works,
that's it.
I'll be like, that's it. But until then, I don't know.
All right. Well, people can throw some ideas out there.
Absolutely.
All right. So, folks, let's start throwing on ideas. We'll send them over to Rory, and one of those is going to click, and he's going to go, yeah, that's it.
There you go.
I've been wanting to do a 40-year anniversary by taking Vanbo Generic Van Part 2 down to Canyonlands with my dad. Don't know how much longer we're going to have him, but I'm running out of February, and I don't know if I'm going to pull it together because my wiring harness fell down and shorted out the entire thing. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that wrapped up, but it would be cool. I kind of like these old school bumpers.
Yeah, this one's gonna be. I'm going with the tall 8274 Warren winch.
Yeah.
This one's gonna keep the theme of the old truck, and that's actually why I didn't use a flatbed. I used a bed because it keeps the rat rod, or not the rat rod, but the patina look to it.
Yeah.
Faded
Oh
paint.
yeah. You gotta have that's part of its personality.
Just love it.
What I want to do is I want to make one though, and I want to enclose that so I could open this up and I could store like tire chains or toe chains or whatever, and that way I don't have to have that kind of stuff in here. It could all be in the corners of the bumpers.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Can you show us how you set it up on the inside here?
Yeah.
No, that's ingenious. He's taking advantage of the empty space in here.
Yeah, I've got ATF and oil here.
And how much do you carry of each?
I probably have 6 to 7 quarts of ATF and 3 to 4 quarts of gear oil, or engine oil.
So you could pretty much, somebody nails their oil pan.
Well, what it is it's mostly when you go to get a rolled rig.
Oh, okay.
You've lost engine oil, you've
A
lost
lot of that's
transmission
slicked
fluid.
up. Yeah.
So I carry enough that if we get it back on its wheels, we pull the plugs and we get it working.
Make sure it's not hydrolocked and you don't break.
Then we can make it run again. So like I said, I've got antifreeze, I've got brake fluid.
And it's all stored here.
90 weight usually right here. But
Did you make these holders? That's ingenious. That is just ingenious. Because you don't want the inside of your vehicle cluttered with this.
Yeah.
I use the hollow spaces of my doors.
The big thing with this, like the whole design of this truck, is to have any additional weight on the front.
Oh, yeah.
So like when I put the new motor in, I did an aluminum intake instead of cast iron, and I did headers instead of manifolds. So I lost weight.
So you lost weight.
So there's half-inch plate welded to the frame. Because I lost weight, so I needed to make sure I kept that weight. Because I knew how the truck handles, I didn't want it to start picking the front end and not working like I'm used to.
Yeah.
So move that around. I've changed things over the years.
It's just ingenious. I might have a little space under my hood on the van. It's not a lot of space to play around with, but
any little bit you can have to just tuck it in or whatever.
So what engine did you have and what do you have now?
This is it was a 454. This is a 454. This is a GM Performance Parts crate engine. So
and that's not cheap. What was it? 4 or 5 grand? What was it?
I bought a truck for $1,500 that had it in.
Oh, that's a deal. That's a great deal.
And
you probably had spare parts, and you probably scrapped the rest and made money off that. So, do you have an aftermarket radiator then?
Yeah. Well, this is a replacement radiator for a Chevy truck this year.
So it's standard for that.
Just keep it all the same.
And what fluids do you have? Brake fluid, power steering.
Yeah. Brake fluid, power steering fluid, engine oil, additional coolant. Try to keep 2 gallons of coolant.
You have the concentrate, so you can add water to it and double it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
never buy
carry water back there.
Oh, there you go. You got the cooler back there.
Yeah.
And does this old vacuum boost still work?
Yep.
And brakes no problem? What axles are you running?
Dana 60 Chevy front.
Is it a high pinion or
no? Low pinion.
Okay. And that hasn't been an issue? No issues?
Nope.
And then no locker? No. Yeah, you have a locker.
Yeah, this has got a Detroit in the front.
Okay. So that means if this slips, that's going to automatically lock up. Okay. So it's automatic.
It's not selectable.
Okay.
I had a selectable locker in the rear, a selectable electric locker, and I broke it.
Really?
And yeah, so I went with the Detroit for a little while, but I've got a new replacement locker that's going to go back in because I want to be able to disconnect it. Because having the ability to turn the locker off on the rear helps immensely on the slick rock down in Moab. So being able to shut that off, because with a solid, with either a spool or a locker in the rear, when I'm carrying a rig, and I turn a corner.
Oh, it's forcing you to go straight, especially when you
go straight. I can feel the body or the frame twist in the seat.
Really?
I mean, that's just how much stress it puts on there. So being able to take that off helps a lot.
Now, if it was a limited slip, would that work?
Yeah, it would. But I like the positive engagement of like solid lock.
Yeah.
When you're pulling a rig off of Hell's Revenge.
Yeah.
Like when you've got the weight of a rig back, and you're going up, your front end is barely on the ground.
Okay.
So you want both tires driving so that you go straight up the hill.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it'll turn.
Have you heard of the Auburn locker?
That's what was it?
It had an Auburn?
The Auburn electric locker.
Well, the Auburn it's limited slip when it's not engaged, and it's full locker when it is.
I almost went with that one. I went with the other one that's full open or locked.
Oh, it's all locked or all open.
Yeah.
And that broke on you?
I broke an axle shaft, which took the locker out, which is a very common thing with lockers.
Really?
Yeah, when you break a chrome moly, a hardened axle shaft, the shock load through will actually take lockers, Detroit lockers.
Really?
It's common for it to kill the locker.
Oh, shoot.
And so, yeah, so I went to chrome moly shafts, and then I broke 3 chrome moly shafts in 2 months. And every time I broke a shaft, it was killing the locker. So I went back to stock shafts.
So that'd be like the fusible link where that would break, but it wouldn't ruin.
Well, the stock shafts hold up better.
What?
Yeah. I ran stock shafts for 2 years and never had a problem.
Say that again.
I ran stock shafts for 2 years.
For 2 years?
Never had a problem. The second I put chrome moly shafts in, snap, 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 snap.
I thought they were supposed to be tougher and beefier. So
I went back to factory shafts. I haven't had a single
stick
problem
with that.
since.
And plus, you could probably find those at a junkyard pretty easy compared to buying expensive. How much were the mollies?
I think it was $500 for a set.
And then the locker that you destroy, how much are those?
About $1,500.
So you're losing
How we doing?
$2,000 every time you snap, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So do you like these aluminum traction boards? Or what
I built those.
Homemade?
Those are actually, they're not necessarily traction boards. They're ramps. Because a lot of times I have to go in and get a car out of somewhere it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And they'll drive down a ledge and then they can't get back up. So I actually need to make a road to pull them up without ripping the bottom of the car out.
What kind of weight can those handle?
One of them is 50-54 aluminum and it needs some support. The other one
You can see it starting to...
Yeah, the other one is 60-65 aluminum, and I have pulled this truck on it and can't bend it.
Really?
Yeah.
How much does it cost to... Did you what, dye those or cut those and then dimple?
I cut them out on my plasma table and then dimple dyed them and then bent them on my press brake. And yeah, I made those in the shop out of some scrap aluminum I had.
Oh, sweet.
They're quarter-inch aluminum.
And how much does TRAILMATER weigh? Do you know?
Just shy of 7,000 pounds.
So if I had like a 9,000-pound full-size van, those might work.
Oh, yeah.
Use those as my traction boards, and then I have to spend a fortune on Max Tracks, even though Max is my nickname.
I don't know, because that 60-65 aluminum is not cheap.
I'll bet prices have just gone way up recently.
Lately.
But so what do you have in the rear? You don't have the what axle is that?
The rear is a Dodge Dana 80.
Dana 80.
Yeah.
I
I got sick of breaking the 14 bolt in half. I hate 14 bolts.
What?
I literally call them full-size Dana 30s. I hate them.
I was just gonna go to 14 bolts. They have the bearing on the pinion.
Yeah,
that doesn't help.
supposedly stronger.
You broke those a lot.
I broke an axle tube in half at the leaf spring because the axle tube's on a 14 bolt. If you get the newer 14 bolts, like 2000, 2004, around there, they're actually a bigger tube and they'll actually hold up better. But I broke, like the older style, the 14 bolt, I broke an axle tube clear in half.
The tube, not the axle tube.
Tube.
So like that whole thing broke off. Oh my gosh.
I had to weld it back together so I could do a recovery, and then finally, that was like the third or fourth time I'd broken that axle. And I threw it to the side of
And
the
that was
shop,
a 14 bolt.
put the 80 in there, and I've not had a problem since.
Never had a problem.
Other than breaking the
So
chrome.
is a Dana? I have a Dana 70 in the back of one of my full drive vans. It's actually an old ambulance van.
Yeah.
Dana 44 front, but Dana 70 in the rear.
Yep.
Is that going to hold up for me?
Yeah, that's what's in that.
Oh, is it?
That's a 70 in the rear of that.
Do they make lockers?
Yeah.
For those?
Yeah.
So,
The
stick
70,
with.
The 70 is easier to find a locker for than the 80.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they make a lot of electric lockers and air lockers. And stuff
80s.
Like
I have a Dana 61 in the other one. They don't make anything for a Dana
that.
61.
Yeah.
So, how long have you had this?
6 years, I think I've had this.
That's all?
Yeah, but I've only done recoveries with it for 4.5 years, and And it used to be my buddy's, and I think he got it about 10 years ago. And we built it and turned it into a rock crawler for him.
Yeah.
And then I bought it from him and have since turned it into all this.
And that has not fallen out.
How we doing? We're still there. I would say working, but I'm not in town, so I'm sure he's not working. Yeah. So, well, no, not making me money. No.
Do you like the warrants?
I absolutely love them. That one I was very concerned about because that's the new Platinum. So on the wireless winch controller,
Yeah.
you can free spool it.
What?
Yeah. So from the controller, you can free spool that.
Meaning you do it and it just feeds out, or
Or you
just
just-
frees it up so you can pull it out?
Yeah, so you can pull it out. You
So you might be further back. You can free
Yeah,
spool
you
it.
can be,
and pull it
yeah,
longer.
you can be 100 feet away and run it in a little bit, and then you need to free spool it. You go click, and you just pull it out. You don't have to walk back.
What does the Platinum Series run you? And they're up there, are they? Quite a bit.
I want to say that might be a $2,000.
Really?
I don't know because I traded somebody for it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I traded a bunch of stuff to a guy, and yeah, that looked like most of this truck. I really get on trade deals or whatever scrap we had laying around.
That's what I'm all about.
When I
say,
built this, that hydraulic steering was laying in the used parts section, and I put it on here. So yeah,
So is it full hydraulic or is it
Full
hydro
hydro.
assist?
full of hydro.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's controlled by your wheel.
Yep.
All right. I want to get rear steer on that van because if I can swing that back end around, I can get around obstacles that a Jeep
Right.
can get around. But you won't be able to pull a long wheelbase vehicle around. But you have the splitter. Is it a
Yeah.
MB205? What does it look like? How hard was the twin stick mod?
Well, this one I ordered the ORD shift rails and installed those. But my old one, the original transfer case that was in here, I modified them.
They're
Yeah, you can cut that groove down into them and just extend that groove and make a twin stick out of it. And
but you're saying that this other company that you ordered from, they come that way?
they make them. So Off-Road Design is who kind of they make twin stick shift rails. So they're already grooved out so that it shifts.
So you've had to replace the part. They've already milled
Yeah,
it and everything.
They've already milled it. And it's
Do you-
more exact.
do you
Like
have your
mine,
own shift?
I just kind of did and eyeballed it.
Well, show me your shift letter because I thought that was the most hilarious thing. You were doing a little tutorial the other day, and you made them out of wrenches. I love this.
Yeah.
So that's your twin stick.
Yeah. So this is rear wheel.
And if you were to pull that down, you would be in forward wheel.
So I'm in too high right there.
Okay. Yep.
So there's
Four high.
And then this is your front, so that's neutral. Then that's neutral for both of them. And then that's just your front axle low.
So now you can do front digs.
Yeah, and then that's 4 low.
I love it. I'm definitely going to twin stick my 205.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get the 203 and get that adapter, so maybe I could have a doubler.
Yeah. Which this has the 203 in it. So I'm going to do a 205 on the back of it so I have the double.
So you'll be
this
able
is
to
an automatic.
Yeah.
So I want the lower gears, whereas this one, the standard, it's a factory 205 with 410 gears.
Yeah,
So
I've got
it's not low.
I have 373s. All right. What switches do you have here real quick?
Winch control, winch control, winch control. This is my side winch on that side winch on this side, and this is the upper rear winch back there.
Okay, and do you have one for your front? Is it over here somewhere?
This is my front winch. This is my main boom winch, and then right down here is my my lower rear winch.
I'll
total.
trust that's down there. And so you have 4 winches.
6 total.
6 total.
6 total.
Wait a minute. The front one, left, right, the main boom one, is that what you
No,
call it?
main boom.
Main
so-
boom. Oh, okay.
Main boom, auxiliary, rear.
Wow. And are they all warned or?
I know, Smittyville, mile marker, Warren, Ramsey. Yeah, whatever was laying around the shop.
I was watching your video and I captured a little segment with a suggestion on how to wind these. I actually did a segment on a YouTube channel segment I'm hoping to get up there that shows the figure 8, because every time you do a figure 8 it cancels the twist, because every wrap you put here it creates a twist. You can see how the plastic is starting to rotate, and if these were just a little bit further apart and you did a figure 8 on those, they would cancel every twist, and there would be no twist on it at all.
Right.
A couple more fans admiring the great Mater, Trail Mater. But and you got air, and that's just the air from the wind that comes with the air compressor on it.
Yeah, I've got the air compressor with an air tank, and then the hose reel right there.
Oh, wait, so this is not the one that comes. Some warrants come with it.
Yeah, no.
That's
This
just
is
a.
standalone.
And what is that one?
That's the Vi-Air.
Okay, yeah, they do some good stuff. And this tank is enough to handle all your needs.
Yeah, I don't even use power tools. I use impacts, and I've got all the Milwaukee cordless impact stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of going to. They all use the same batteries.
Yeah, it's totally the way to go.
Yeah.
I've got the Milwaukee 12 volt,
Yeah.
the M12, and I literally pull lug nuts off.
Really?
Yeah, with that tiny little one. It works great.
Well, I had to look into that one.
Yeah, and it, like I said, I have it. It everything. It fits everything. It fits the drill. It fits. I've got the drill, the impact, the nut driver, the ratchet, all in that gas can right there.
Oh yeah, and that's really cool because it looks like a gas can, but really it's a tool organizer. Is that Optima?
Yeah, Optima. I've got two batteries, one here and one in the front.
And the one in the front just runs your engine. Is this just?
No, they're both tied together. They're tied together, so it's a dual battery setup.
Okay. Do you ever worry about something getting left on and running your car down?
Only at the shop. I plug in my winch controllers to charge them or something, and then I don't drive it for a few days.
Yeah.
And then I go to start it, and it's like,
What's the biggest rig you've been able to recover?
I've pulled a loaded propane tank out of the mud.
What?
A loaded propane truck out of the mud.
What? Okay. It's a truck with the big propane tank on the back that goes around and fills up everybody's small tanks. And you pulled that out of the mud? How deep was it?
It stuck pretty good.
Did you have to do the lift and then pull
I
technique?
didn't lift. I did take it off the boom and doubled the line up.
Just down low?
Doubled the line up just down low, and had to tie with 2 inches off to a couple trees to hold me steady.
Yeah.
So then I could winch him back on the road.
Wow. And all your winches, are they all 8,000 pound or?
That one, main one's a 17.5. That's a 9,000. This is an 8,000. I think that was a 9,500, and it's a 10,000 up front, and that's a 10,000.
Wow.
Watch all your videos, man.
Oh, thank you.
You do awesome.
More
One of
Doing
the best
fans.
drivers I've ever seen.
More Doing fans.
I can't even believe you take some of these. You take trails that people have a hard time driving regular vehicles, and you have a vehicle on the back that's disabled.
Well, after you run it enough, you can kind of figure it out.
I feel like I know you because I watch all your videos.
It's like Rory, give me a hug, bro. It's like we all know him.
No, it's a good time. Like I said, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's hard. Most of the time, it's hard to call my job work.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's the funnest part of me for me on the trail is when you have to stop and build the road or you need to fix something.
Right.
It's like cool. We get to borrow out tools and we get a little camaraderie and we all fix it together.
Honestly, I think one of the best drivers I've ever seen. Honestly, like legitimately on the trails, you have this ability to just go in and it doesn't matter what it is, and you're always there to help people, and it's cool.
It's all CGI.
It's all CGI.
I work in video. I do CGI.
It's not because I edit it all myself, so I'm amazed that it looks even halfway decent.
That's funny.
Really good job.
It's hilarious.
Really good job.
What tires do you run?
BFG, Cam3.
Like them?
Love them.
So far, so good?
Love them. Wouldn't trade those for anything.
Really?
Yeah. I have those outer duals take a beating that a tire should never see, just because it's so much wider than a rig, but it helps keep it stable. But then, like any of the pinches or wedges that you see, then those are getting just abused.
Yeah. I saw you
And
trying to come around the
I have
bend.
not had a
Trying to make it.
sidewall fail on these tires ever. This is my third set running them to completely bald, and I've never had a sidewall failure.
Wow. That's a good endorsement.
This is supposed to have a set, but I'm not very far along on the build, so they're sitting at the shop waiting to go on.
I like the old school A-pillar search
Oh,
lights.
yeah. My
I've got-
dad had that in the box, and he goes, "You want this?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Yeah. That's the era. I love them. I love them. Now, what's the worst weather you've been in with this open design that you've had to endure?
Oh, I've been in freezing cold, rain, snow. Yeah, that's why this one has doors.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I've been in the worst stuff, and yeah, that's why I've got the half doors, and then I've got uppers that go on the half doors and just have a plexiglass that it helps.
Oh, that's right. You do have kind
Yeah,
of a
it helps,
something.
but it's still cold.
Do you have a good heater in here?
I have a heater in here. I wouldn't use the word good heater, but I have a heater in here.
Oh, that's funny.
When it was a rock crawler, this whole corner right here got smashed. And so it also smashed the blower motor.
Oh.
And so when I put it back together, that's what all this spray foam is in here and everything to kind of make it blow.
So you think maybe there's some leaks, so you're not quite getting the full force
Yeah,
of the
so
blower?
you get most of it. So yeah, it does blow, but it's not good. Is this straight legal? Yes, sir. Licensed and insured.
Well, that's cool. How much?
Depending on your fender laws.
Yeah. Well, I think the police in Moab are very forgiving with all the rigs that come through there.
They let me get away with a lot.
How much does it cost for your power welder setup?
Last time I checked, I think they're like around $1,500.
Oh, really?
For a full setup. That's with the alternator, welding leads, control box. That's everything you need to set it up.
Okay.
Like the hand throttle control and everything. And like you said, that's more expensive than like the trail welders that they're doing now, with the little battery operated and charge them and little MIG machines.
Yeah, the little mini MIG reel.
Which I think they work great, and I think they're great for trail fixes where you're you're doing it quick and you just need to get it out of there.
Yeah.
But whereas this will actually weld. I actually built most of this rig with the Premier Power Welder I have on my buggy.
Really?
When I built it for my buddy, we did a bunch of the welding with that.
Do you have to have the engine running the entire time, though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the problem is you have to have the engine. Do they have an option where if what you needed to fix was like an engine mount and you couldn't be running the engine while you needed to do the welding? What's an option for that?
Probably one of those.
One of those other ones?
Yeah, one of those.
I mean, I've heard of people like getting 2 or 3 batteries, hooking them together,
I've done that.
running some leads.
2 batteries and 2 sets of jumper cables. Yeah, you can weld most anything back together.
And as long as you have the rods, right?
Yeah.
What rod would you use for general repair?
6011's good. 7010's a good. You want to go with like a junk rod, something that'll burn through rust,
Yeah.
and dirt and grime and whatever. I carry 7018, 7014, 6011, 7010, and
Well, you really know your welding then, because
6013.
you're throwing a lot of numbers out that I'm
Yeah.
yet to learn about.
Well, and like I said, 6011, 6013, they'll burn through rust, dirt, grime, whatever. So you can weld right over stuff. So you don't have to do a lot of prep work to clean it.
Yeah.
And so if it's a broken bracket where you can't get in there with a grinder to clean it,
Is
you
that
just
what you
grab
use?
some of that and burn across there, and it'll burn it out, and then you can run over the top of it with like some 7018.
Is that what you used on that trailer repair recently?
Trailer repair.
You went in and you said, "Oh no, this is why I carry the power welder. See this part on the front of the trailer is cracked, and I have to fix this."
Oh, that one, yeah, that was a while ago. But no, I think that one I used 7018 on it.
Okay.
I used 7018 on
But
it.
you pulled out a grinder and it was corded, so you
Yeah.
have an inverter here.
Oh no, the welder has its own.
Oh, so you can plug in right there and you got it.
As long as it's AC/DC, because this is a DC machine, DC power. So you can't just buy a Harbor Freight grinder because they're AC only. You got to
Oh,
get
you're
it
saying
good.
that you can buy a grinder that does
That's
AC
AC/DC.
or DC?
Yeah, it's an AC/DC
Really?
grinder. Yeah, DeWalt makes it. That's
I didn't
actually
know.
what I carry on here.
That's what I thought. I thought it's
Yeah.
not Milwaukee. He's using a yellow grinder and it's corded. But that's a DC or AC or DC.
Yeah.
Do you have to just flip a switch on it?
No, it's just basically DC runs at lower, so like it's not consistent power. Like when you kick on a grinder and it's full out,
Yeah.
a DC one you can click on and it can go slow and then go up. It's just pull the trigger on. So that's the difference with this is your idle control changes everything.
Yeah.
So if you don't have it idled up high enough, the grinder just spins a little slower.
So you
And that's fine
You idle it
with
up.
a DC welder
Yeah.
or with a DC grinder. or an AC/DC grinder, then it'll spin slow and it'll be fine. If an AC grinder spins slow, it burns up the motor.
Okay.
So that's why it has to be an AC/DC. It's just the windings and
So either buy that if you're going to use this,
Yes.
or you simply have an inverter and run a standard grinder at home. Because I've done that a few times. So that is up there. I had no idea there were that much. But that's basically a stick welder. That's a buzz box, if you will.
which, and like I said, I mean it's rated to weld pipe. I mean the thing's awesome.
So as long as your
I
rig is
carry-
running, you're good to
I
go.
carry smaller rod on here because if you run a smaller rod, you can cut plate with it.
Using that plasma arc as a cutter.
Yeah, you can crank the welder up to higher voltage, use a thinner rod, and cut right through 3/16 plate.
Really?
Cut out whatever you need if you need to.
So
Or I've
that's
cut tube with it. I've cut like if I need a shorter section of tube and I didn't have a cutoff wheel, whatever. I've cut with that.
oh wow, that's a
And
great.
that's a different thing than you're ever going to get from those plug-in buzz box machines.
Now Matt's making this extreme off-road recovery rig.
Yep.
He plumbed. I guess he's plumbing the rails basically as air tanks.
Yeah.
Because I've been wanting to do that as a rock slider and just make the rock sliders, cap both ends and plumb it. How far have you gone for recovery?
I've gone over to Hanksville and done some stuff. I've gone into Colorado. I've gone up to almost here.
Are you getting more and more calls now that
Yeah.
you get a lot more?
Well, and Matt's called me to help out on a few.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'm thinking the word's getting out that you have this extremely capable rig.
Yeah.
As Matt says, I rescue rental cars. He rescues.
Well, like I said, that's the thing is that's the whole reason Matt's building his now.
Oh,
These giant record things.
Yeah, he wants to have a tow off. Me, him, and Paul have a tow off once he gets it done.
oh, that will be fun.
I could beat him in the drag race. I don't know. He's probably feeling pretty bad.
I told him, I said, don't worry, 12,000 pounds isn't bad. I've pulled something that heavy off before.
Well, that's cool. How much money do you think you have into this thing?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, you have to keep like adding and upgrading and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, it's constantly evolving.
But since it makes the money,
But like I said, this truck by itself last year, because I had to break it apart from my business, from my shop. My insurance company wanted to know the difference between the shop and the truck.
okay.
And this truck itself made $70,000 last year.
It made 70,000.
Just this.
Wow.
So,
That's a good question. What does it cost? I've seen some signs saying minimum $2,000 recovery fee if you break down. So be forewarned before you go into this trail.
that's mostly to discourage people or make them think before they do something dumb.
And it really is that much? No.
I rarely hit that high. If I hit that high, we had to do some insane, crazy stuff and take a lot of time and take multiple vehicles in.
So that's up to that.
Most of my recoveries cost between $400 to $600.
Okay.
It's
That's
run down on
definitely
Hells or up on Moab Rim and
Yeah.
run in there. But I also get the same thing a lot of times. That went a lot quicker than I thought it would. And it's like, because I'm here to do a job. And that's what I get in trouble with on YouTube is everybody's like, we want to see more of this and more of that. And it's like, all right, well, I get caught up in doing the job. I forget the camera.
Oh yeah. That's
Yours, I'm
that's
assuming, huh?
that's the Pink Panther insulation, your fiberglass insulation reader there.
This one's yours too?
Yes, sir.
That's nice.
This is the new lighter duty version of that.
Yeah, he's got a what Jeep is yours?
My
The new one,
Grand Cherokee.
the one you need an engine.
05.
He has an 05. He needs an engine for it, and then we can take his rig
Everybody's
out.
telling me I'm crazy to even work on it. It's got the Hemi in it. And they said, oh, that's a horrible motor for that vehicle. Overheats. And I'm like, yeah, it's like anything. The price was right. I got it for free. So
Yeah, but that's the thing is everything breaks. Everything has issues. Everybody tells me, my Dodges, will those have transmission issues? Yeah. When the training goes out, I'll replace it.
Yeah.
But I also have a motor that'll go 1,000,000 miles.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that.
Well, this is sweet. Very cool. Well, I hope if I ever get that 40th anniversary run in generic van
Yeah.
2, you know, part 2.
Yeah, swing by. I'd love to see it.
That will be a lot of
I'll
fun.
definitely be checking it out on YouTube.
Matt's the golden ticket, you know. You just
Oh man, but like I said, Robbie's good at it.
Oh, he is.
knows how to do all of it. I mean, he's already got all the cameras. He's got dedicated people. I mean, he's got a good established business, and then he can have a few more extra people running around.
Yeah.
He's crushing it. He's doing awesome.
I mean, he's already got fans sending him gummy bears and other stuff to use in the business. And we just need that. We need one of your fans to fix his rig up with all the cameras, all the angles.
Yep.
If somebody knows how to do that.
That's fun.
So, if you know how to do that, and you have some old equipment that you've upgraded from, and you like TRAILMATER, come set it up with the setup so he can have all those cameras running. He has all the angles that people want to see, because he's like me, quick and dirty with the phone, and there's only so much you can do, especially when you're busy trying to recover a vehicle and do the camera at the same time.
Okay, everyone. Let's wrap this video up. It was a fantastic interview. It was a total surprise and very exciting to, get a little starstruck with some of your favorite YouTubers, if you will. And I just wanted to thank Rory for a fantastic interview. This interview I did was almost a year old, and I just haven't got the thing up. Actually, my son Jake, who's a lot of editing, he's our go-to guru for our all things computerized, IT, AV, everything. Yeah, he's our family savior. I think I'm getting a t-shirt that says, if Jake can't fix it, we're screwed. So, but he already had this thing edited. I should have had this thing uploaded long ago, but I was just watching a recent video just a couple hours ago, and lo and behold, Rory was saying, hey, this guy did a full interview, a walk around, and I said, well, I did one 11 months ago or 10 months ago. And we found it, and we're going to upload it. One more thing that I wanted to point out, though, is he's made some improvements quite a bit. He has more crew now. He has better camera setups. Fantastic. He's making great inroads. He's just improving all the time. Both he and Matt's Off-Road Recovery, you watch the earlier videos, pretty simple, but they just keep getting better and better and better. And that's what hopefully I need to do for you guys, is to continue to make my show segments better and better and better. I've been looking for an opportunity to re-engage. I've been busy moving and cleaning up an old house and selling that and getting a new house and then moving. And literally I just wrapped up moving a week or two ago. But hopefully I can start cranking out some great video content for you. One thing I want to point out is this on the new rig, or the latest video, this is what they call a bump stop. And it's the kind that I would like to get, but I just have a kind of a cheap one. This is kind of a mid-grade one. He's moved up to the really nice one. This one is rubber, but it has these gaps in here. So when this comes down and hits this bump stop plate here, it absorbs some of the energy, but because it's hard rubber, it's like the old urethane ball that really bounces back. And sometimes that just shakes the fillings out of your teeth. But he has a new one that's kind of pricey, I bet. But it absorbs the energy going down, but it doesn't push it back. So they rebound, but kind of rebound slowly instead of bounce back and your fillings fall out. And yeah, I definitely want to upgrade to that when I can afford it, but can't right now. But anyhow, I can see these already made some improvements from this video to what he's running now. But this is still a pretty good one. If you watch the other person's interview, there's a couple things I've been watching and I already picked up. And it's like, hey, he didn't mention that on mine. And hopefully this will do for you what that video did for me. And that will give you some other insights. And between the two videos of the complete walk around, you'll get some really good information on this amazing rig and Rory's great creation here. I just love it. I just love the simplicity of it. I love the robustness of it. That's what I think all of us should be working toward, is getting a rig set up like that that could really help. But anyhow, thank you again, Rory, for taking the time to show us all some really cool setup. Anyhow, until next time, next out.